Welcome to Funfamiliar Territory, an anime and or gaming podcast hosted by two white dudes who've been friends for over 15 years. It's not what you know or what you don't know, it's how you play the game. So come on, get on our level, and transform into our world space. Our Funfamiliar Territory.
My name is Grant.
And I'm Brantley. Heads up, spoilers on the way. Check the description, see if you're safe to listen.
So Danganronpa exists, right?
Danganronpa. Which we're gonna call Danganronpa because the cool voice in the song goes Danganronpa, so we're doing that. It exists.
We also will probably call it. It does exist. So it's a thing. And this episode we're gonna talk about it as an anime, but mostly it as a game. But let's talk about if you were to turn a video game into an anime, what are you looking for? Because through the entire time watching this, I was like, this doesn't need to exist. What the fuck do you do? What the fuck do you do when you're turning a video game into an anime?
Yeah, well, this is a great thing to start on, considering that we had just watched an interview video with the author of Danganronpa, Kazutaka Kodaka. By the way, the video is from Archipel Caravan, so go look them up. But in this, he describes that games are long, at least 20 to 30 hours. That's what is trying to be made into an anime here, right? Danganronpa the animation. Mm-hmm. Impossible. Like what? What?
Yeah, no, it's 12 episodes, so like that's a fifth of how long it takes. And like, let's be real. There's a lot of unnecessary shit in Danganronpa, the video game, but not enough to cut it down to 6 hours. Yeah.
Like,
not even 6 hours.
Just playing the trials back to back is already longer than the anime, basically. So, thinking of it makes like bile rise in my throat. Like, I don't envy any of this. I feel like if I were tasked with this, to get back to your question, I'd focus on fan service. Oh, I've been reading the Sonic IDW comics recently. Sonic isn't Sonic,
man.
The Hedgehog.
We literally just talked about how crossing anything over with Sonic the Hedgehog is fucking funny, and here we are already talking about fucking Sonic the Hedgehog 3 minutes into our anime podcast.
He's talking to me. Thanks, buddy.
In those comics, I think they work really well because it's so fan servicey. Like Sonic is literally quoting lyrics from the butt rock songs that are in his games as like just diegetic conversation. So he'll say like, I just go my way, my own way, which is like direct lyrics from his theme song in Sonic Adventure. If you have to really trim things down and you're working on that like slim time budget, I feel like you have to give people the delicious nuggets. If something is going to be sacrificed, at least give them like the fun stuff and like the goofy stuff and like the gotcha stuff. Does that make any sense at all?
Yeah, no, I get it. One of the things that I saw when I was watching this is like, I understand why some people are like, I don't want to play the game, so I'll watch the anime. I feel like if you have an anime, you got to bring either got to do something completely different or bring something new to the table. I would have loved to see an alternate series of events with different characters dying and different characters being murderers. But I know that they don't want to do that because they don't want to confuse like canon and shit. But it's still something that I'm like, if you are going to adapt an anime from a video game, especially a long one like Danganronpa, I feel like you need to add something completely new. And then they tried that, and we haven't seen it, but I think the Despair arc and the Future arc of the Danganronpa 3 is bad, but I haven't seen it, so that's a preemptive judgment.
Yeah, this is a strictly Danganronpa 1 only review. Even though we've played ahead and I've seen all the games, we're hush-hushing about it. We're going to milk those episodes later.
We are going to talk about it because Danganronpa is easy to obsess
What is it about Danganronpa?
So I think in the interview you talked about the writer, what's his name?
Kazutaka Kodaka.
he said he likes to make a shallow and wide story. And I think that's why it's easy to obsess over, because things like Avatar have a conclusive character development and a conclusive end, and it has like very, very deep lore, and you can look into it. Same with even like Star Wars, right? You can look into the fucking background bartender and learn all about him. Mm-hmm. But Danganronpa doesn't have that. You have characters that are like, I'm doing it for despair. And that's it. And you're like, well, why does that make sense? What's their background? And they don't have one. Mm-hmm. It's just given to you. So I think because you get so fucking little from the franchise, you're just like, man, I want to get as much as I can so I can start like thinking about it and analyzing it. And I think that's why it is. And I don't even think Danganronpa's good. like I've used this analogy when describing it to people. Danganronpa has incredibly high highs and incredibly low lows, and there's way more lows than highs, but damn, you're just chasing that high constantly. So yeah, if you haven't seen or played Danganronpa, fucking go for it. Like, I would stop listening. I would be like, I don't want to hear this shit.
Yeah, we're gonna spoil the hell out of this probably. So
spoil the fuck out of it. It's fun, but I don't think it's fun by yourself. I don't know if I'd be this into it if I wasn't playing it with 4 or 5 other people. Mm-hmm. If I played this by myself, I don't think I'd give a shit.
Mm-hmm. This thing, yeah.
But that being said,
you're totally right, because this thing thrives on, like you said, it's wide and shallow, which means when you're kicking around the kiddie pool, you need you need someone else in there with you to distract you on the fact that like I'm ankle deep in water right now. Like, I need something.
Yeah, and I think we should talk about social gaming later in this episode. Yeah. But for those who have not heeded our warnings or who don't have friends to talk to about this and decided to listen to this, which is probably nobody, but Danganronpa is a game about high schoolers trapped inside a school that have to kill each other. Now, if they don't kill each other, they get to live forever in this school for the rest of their lives. Food is provided for them. There's no like resource management. Everything's good. They literally just kind of have like comfortable but boring lives. And if you want to leave, you have to kill someone. But if you kill someone, you have to do a trial. And once the trial goes on, if you are found innocent, you go free. And if you aren't found innocent, you die. But if you are found innocent, everybody else dies. Only one person gets to leave. That's the whole shtick. And so it's about all these characters just hanging out, being friends, and murdering each other. And I am obsessed with it. I am. I think it's weird that I think about it so much, and I want to talk about it all the time. And I don't know why.
It's a brain worm.
It really is. So let's talk about. I think we should talk about the characters first.
I agree.
Because I think this game, after you get the setting, the thing that makes this game is the characters.
Mm-hmm. Which is surprising, again, considering that the author doesn't write with like characters really in mind. It's plot first, characters second.
I mean, the characters are tropes. They even refer to them as tropes in the anime.
Yep.
They say like, "Welcome to my school, you 15 character tropes," and that they have some shut up personality, but other than that, they're literally. If you've seen an anime, if you've seen like 2 anime, you've seen all of these characters done before.
Yeah. It's actually one of the benefits, like what I do before playing these games now, is that I'll show the characters to people. This is a common like internet fandom thing. Is like you show someone the characters and say, "Who is this? What do you think they are about?" And it's a shockingly high accuracy rate for people never knowing what Danganronpa is, but then being able to peg what that character is for. I think that's a success on Danganronpa's part. At the very least, the characters in number 1 are like pretty easy to read. I don't think the anime actually succeeds on that, but we'll get there. We should probably discuss the characters first. So, Grant, do you want to lead the way?
Yeah, so let's mention what the characters are, I guess. I'm sure most people that are listening to this probably know about the characters, but they're all the best in their field at one thing. So, in the English version of the game, they call them ultimates, and then in the translation, they call them super duper high school level.
Yeah, I might be wrong. It might be just super high school level.
I think it's super high school level, but either way, we're gonna probably refer to them as ultimates because it's easier to say.
Yeah.
And the game we played was the English dub, so a few of the things are changed, but most of it's pretty consistent. The English dub of the anime is almost the translation. They call them super high school level, and some of the characters' names, and they refer to the characters by their last names instead of their first names or nicknames for the most part.
Yeah, translation meaning like the fan translation that I saw back in 2013, I think.
Yeah.
2014 maybe. That was on the internet of literally someone like Godspeed who went through the game and blacked out text boxes to put English text on top.
You fucking told me so much about this game in 2014, and I remembered a significant amount of it, but not enough to spoil it, but enough to know when a certain level of understanding of what I was getting into.
Yeah.
I didn't know who lived or died, but I did know who sucked.
Bingo! Bullseye! Right on the money!
So I think referring to everybody by their names constantly might get a little confusing, just because there are literally multiple characters that we're going to be talking about, and not all of them stick around too long. So we'll probably refer to them as their names, but also I think I'll refer to them a lot by their talents because I probably will mispronounce their names anyway. So your main character is Makoto Naegi.
Me?
Which I do know because he's the main character. He is the ultimate lucky student, and he got picked for a raffle to go into this great, absolutely powerful high school. And then he becomes the milquetoast, boring ass motherfucking main character.
What do you mean?
He is bad, but not bad, just dull. And I think the anime makes him more exciting. I think actually having him react and move with other characters makes him a lot better than him just repeating back what the characters are saying in the games, because that's 90% of his voice lines in the game is just him repeating exactly what he heard.
Yeah.
Sayaka, I don't know her last name because she is the first person to die.
Sayaka Maizono.
She dies immediately. She is the ultimate idol star, and she knew Naegi when they were in middle school, and she's like, oh, we should hang out and solve this case together. And then she tries to frame him for murder and dies while doing it.
Sorry.
L.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, the game tries to paint it as a wide brush of it is all human nature to kill people, and they give them incentives to kill, but they're never forced to. And I think that's why this game is more interesting. And I know maybe the later games will put them, there's some situations that make it very hard to not kill people, but in this game, we'll get there. We'll talk about it. But this game, they don't. And I think that makes it a much more solid game. They give them incentives. And Sayaka's a nothing character. She exists to pretend to be your friend so that you feel sad when she dies. But it lasts so little, and it's such a tutorial that you don't give a shit when she dies.
I don't know if she's useless. I think she's the emotional projection for you to essentially She is who you look to read the room, basically. It's kind of like when a baby gets hurt and they look at you and they see that you're all worried and then they cry. She's kind of like that.
Is Makoto
She's a baby.
Does he?
And Makoto's the worried parent.
Okay.
He's making faces.
So I think we should just go should we just go through the kill list?
I guess
characters?
so. What other reasonable way would there be to get through this?
So she's killed by a guy named Leon, who's the ultimate baseball star, who killed her because she tried to kill him, and then he killed her in self-defense. But it really wasn't self-defense because she was done trying to kill him, and then she killed him.
Give me a break.
And then, fuck. So those two characters don't matter the least because they exist for like a second and then die immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should talk about the characters as characters without talking about them dying because now we have a little bit more to build off of.
Yeah.
So the ultimate martial artist is the best character.
Of course.
Her name is Sakura Ogami, and she is a fucking huge human being. Like she's like 6'5" and just all muscle, and it's more muscle on top of that. And her character has an arc, but I think we should save her for last because we like her a lot, and it talks about what Danganronpa does good. Then we have Aoi. Fuck, you got it. You say her name. The ultimate swimmer girl.
Aoi Asahina.
You got it.
Hina. Yes.
Yeah, Hina.
She's good. She's fun. And stop me if you want to talk about them now,
You're good.
or if you want to talk about them later.
You're good.
There's Celestia Ludenberg, who's the ultimate gambler.
Indeed.
There's Byakuya
Out with it.
something.
Togami.
Who we call Bakugan.
No, yeah.
So if people have listened to this podcast, they know that I cannot pronounce things worth shit. And going through the game, I just kept mispronouncing this character's name, and eventually it became Bakugan, like the fucking metallic robot roll balls. And what?
Just like, describing Bakugan as that.
That's what they.
Like I would have thought like children's toy game or something, or collectible toys. What was it? Metallic
Robot.
roll ball.
Yeah, they're robots, and
You're
roll
100% correct. You're more informative than what I would have said, but like I've never heard it put that way.
And then you had I just know him as Mondo.
Yes,
he's
Mondo Owada.
Don't be a goddamn idiot.
He's the ultimate biker leader. And then you have Yasuhiro,
Yo.
who is the ultimate psychic. And I think it's funny because he, as the ultimate psychic, is only right like 37% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But he's the best psychic in the world.
Yeah, Yasuhiro Hagakure is outstanding in his field with marginal success, which is very interesting.
You have Toko.
What do you want?
Who is the ultimate writer, or it's like ultimate literacy something in the translation.
Yeah, Toko
and then you have her alternate ego, which is Genocide Jack in the English dub, or Genocide Show in like the translation.
Yeah.
We'll talk about her later. I think the biggest takeaway is the ones that survive the longest, the ones we have the most to say.
Yeah.
Then you have Junko, who is supposed to be the ultimate model.
Fashionista. Junko Enoshima.
Hi.
And she's murdered almost immediately. And then you have the goddamn worst character in the entire series so far.
Yes, indeed.
It's Hifumi Yamada.
Hifumi. Yeah, he's bad.
You're forgetting some characters if you think he's the absolute worst, but
there's a couple worse. He's the worst in this game,
yes,
by far.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you have Kyoko Kirigiri, who's the ultimate detective, but that's a spoiler because for some reason they didn't want to tell you.
It's true.
They hide it, and it's not a good twist either.
You know,
it's not like
it's for one thing, and that is the missing student.
Oh,
and
yes,
that's about it.
Yeah, there's a missing student named
Mukuro Ikusaba.
Yeah. And that's and then there's Yamada. Is that his name?
Ridiculous.
We said
who's the ultimate
Hifumi Yamada is
yeah. Hifumi Yamada's the one. What's the hall monitor?
That is I failed. It's Taka. It's Taka.
Taka.
What's his full name?
I
lost it. It's a shame because he's got an arc.
Without a doubt.
He has an arc. He lives long enough to get an arc.
Kiyotaka Ishimaru.
And that's actually going to lead us into the final character out of the student body cast, and that is Chihiro.
Hello there.
Chihiro Fujisaki.
Chihiro Fujisaki has a character arc that we don't get to see because they kill them off before we get to see it. And it makes talking about them kind of hard to dance around. So Brantley, why don't you, I know you had something prepared for this.
Here we go. It's time for the transphobia talk. So, short version. While we're watching the anime, we see a transphobic slur appear on screen while they're talking about Chihiro during a trial. I don't remember if it was like the subtitler putting that in, or if it was like actually, I think it was a subtitle, but anyway, it was there, right? I'm not going to repeat what that word is because that could harm or trigger someone. This exact thing is why I don't think that it's valid to argue that Danganronpa's treatment of Chihiro is okay. Even though Chihiro is a fictional character, even though this is a fictional world, it has the capacity to, hurt someone in seeing this depiction. That's the short version. Look, so Kodaka's described that he's like drawn to scandals, and like, he's very like attracted to like the offensive nature of battle royale when that was originally sort of hitting the scene, and that was an inspiration, like how do I lighten up this offensive material. I get that, but like no. This is I do draw the line on Chihiro.
So to me when he says that, it's more of like the topic of battle royale is dark, depressing, and offensive because it's murder, right?
Yeah.
But like it's so far from reality that you can kind of lighten the mood on it because like the chances of you being in a killing game are very slim, and it's not invalidating for people to make a lighthearted joke about a killing game. But Chihiro's situation is way more applicable to individuals. Right.
This is a like a personal identity matter as opposed to something more hyperbolic. If you say like I'm gonna suplex you, like unless you're trained in wrestling, then that's probably not gonna happen. Like they can assume you don't actually have the skill to pull that off. But when you're dealing with someone's identity and the way they do here, it's not the same, right? It's perfectly applicable, and that's the problem. So I'm going to break down the long version now as to why I don't give a shit for literally any of the defenses for how Chihiro's treated in this game. Especially, I'm passionate about this because I'm newly hatched as like a non-binary, like gender fluid person, so don't at me, here we go. Chihiro Fujisaki's tough to handle because Chihiro's gender identity doesn't really correlate well to like Western ideas. Like you can force it, but it just doesn't quite match. So like, I mentioned this is transphobia. I'm making that assumption on the idea that Chihiro has transitioned to a different gender identity. Maybe the best thing we might relate it to is like gender non-conforming, to say that Chihiro doesn't match with, gender standards of the context. So I'm using transition as like a blanket term here, from like literally cis to non-cis. But I do want to, again, assert I'm not trying to make any assumptions here to force Chihiro or Kodaka as a writer to fit a Western standard. But I still have problems with this, and I still want to be critical of Kodaka as an author, because Kodaka chose to write a gender non-conforming character. And in that, he did the following. First, outing Chihiro is a major plot point in the mystery. Second, he suggests that a traumatized person can become LGBTQIA+ from that trauma, and then may want to convert toward their original identity, toward the identity of their oppressors, when they're like feeling better, which like empirically from, knowing and talking to and being in these communities doesn't really happen. Again, like they're put on the asterisk of like, yeah, there's probably somebody, but like when we're talking about this in like a healthier way and a contemporary way, then, we don't treat this like, oh, it's a choice, or, oh, it's a repression. Like, get that Freud shit out of here, right? Next, he kills off, like, the one LGBTQIA plus rep for tragedy points. And that's just a bad, lame trope. It's a trope that's formed, you could argue by accident. It's like, well, it just kind of happens that way, sure, but people get sick of it for that exact reason. They're sick of seeing, the few, like, atypical characters getting killed off. It's just like any other trope, it's liable for critique because it is not clever or novel writing. Next, he does not effectively message that the otaku character, which would be Hifumi Yamada, that his fetishization of Chihiro is inappropriate. No, him getting killed doesn't count as being like, well, see, he was in the wrong. Those are two different things. Because good and bad people get killed in Danganronpa. And again, there's an argument that everyone is bad or everyone is good. So, like, again, that's not a liable defense here. Not a viable defense. Also, the characters just being generally distasteful towards Yamada doesn't hit this as well, because the other characters also don't discuss Chihiro's identity. Actually, before the last point, Chihiro never gets to, like, confirm really what this is all about. All we get is Monokuma talking about what Chihiro's situation is, which is not Chihiro's voice. For all we know, Monokuma is lying. Great. That doesn't help. So we as viewers cannot actually assess the situation well, because we didn't get the full story. We got the shallow kiddie pool version of this. Vilifying this in fiction doesn't work because gender non-conforming people are still going to be re-exposed to trauma through this media, because Chihiro's gender identity is a direct target for anger and assault. Chihiro's coming out is literally what gets Chihiro killed.
It's literally like the argument of gay panic.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and it's like they bend it so that, like, Owada was doing that because it's like, oh, Chihiro was stronger than me, but, like,
yeah,
still, it's the same thing. Like, it's, we see this in, the murder of trans people for supposedly, like, deceiving people in sex work, for example. And so, like, that's not the exact same thing, but it's the same thing in that it's a person being targeted for who they are. And the onus is on them to defend themselves for being different rather than for other people to be compassionate and empathetic towards their position. Yeah. Ugh.
There are 4 true murder cases or 4 true cases in this that have to deal with actually someone dying, and that is easily the worst motive.
Yeah.
Like, it is easily, like, and it's just not good.
Yeah. Alter Ego is a fun stay over. I'm glad that Chihiro at least gets to live through that method, but, like, it's still depressing, and Alter Ego doesn't get to weigh in on Chihiro's character at all. It's just the functional part of Chihiro being a programmer still in the game.
Yeah. So Chihiro's the ultimate programmer, which we didn't mention.
Chihiro's the ultimate plot device.
Yeah, it's
literally a device.
They have important aspects of their character in the game, and what's frustrating about it is what we'll kind of figure out as we talk more about Danganronpa is that the writer is a very competent writer at writing incredibly good stuff, but there's just so much. It's not the entire thing. It's not a competently written thing throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, it varies.
Yeah,
greatly.
So now that we kind of got that out of the way, I feel like there's more to talk about characters, but I think now that we kind of have, like, the plot of the show and game and, like, the characters that are in it, I think it's time we kind of move on, and we'll talk more in depth about characters that survive and actually have character arcs later.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to go back to the anime for a little bit, unless you have anything more to say.
Absolutely. Let's hit the anime right now.
So the anime likes to translate game mechanics into the anime. Now, the game mechanics include gun symbolism, as like, I have a truth bullet. It's some investigation shit I found. So if a character says something bad or something wrong, you can shoot down their argument with the truth bullet. And
you make the contradiction break by shooting it at their argument, which is in text in the game.
And in the game, it's cool. Like, it's so fucking sick. There's so much hype behind it. The music is playing. It's intense. But, and like, the truth bullets will have like the evidence on it. So it's like, here's the evidence. Pew! It's great.
You lock it in the cylinder, you switch to it. And...
It's good. And in the show, it just has ammunition on the bullets. And then they fire them at the thing. It's like
statement, which is still hanging in the air. So no other text is being shown up until it's time to shoot the truth bullet. The generic truth bullet. Yeah,
it's bad. It's so... Because, like, during the investigations, it does the little, like, come across the screen and go, what you... Like it does in the game, and that's fine. And the investigations in the anime literally last maybe 20 seconds, when they might last 30 minutes in the game. Mm-hmm. They're definitely not the most important part, but a lot of character building between different characters happens during the investigations.
Yeah.
And we miss that. The anime does not cover that. One of the biggest character relationships in the game is Kyoko Kirigiri, the ultimate detective, and your main boy, Makoto, becoming friends. And they become friends through the investigations. But since we don't get that, when they start becoming friends, it's so out of nowhere. Like, there's this level of trust that these characters have that you don't know where it came from. And if you were watching the anime and you had no idea, you'd be like, this is out of fucking left field.
Mm-hmm.
And also the game has bad mini-games. Brantley's the one that plays the games. We have a group of 4 people in total, including Brantley, that have watched the first and second game, and 2 more people joined us for the third game. And we don't know how bad the mini games handle, but watching Brantley struggle is both incredibly hilarious and frustrating.
I'm just bad at them.
Well, they look terrible. So one of the games is Hangman's Gambit, and it sounds cool, but it's literally just Hangman. Except you can't type the word.
I mean, it's letters that are flying around in bubbles, and you have to click on the letters.
So it will be like, what caused this? And it will be like a 20-letter thing.
Okay. That's worse in the second game. In the first game, it's better, and on the easy mode, it will fill in letters for you. So that's better.
But instead of just typing what it is, or like, because it was a game on the PSP, so I understand you couldn't type. But instead of like just like having an easier way to do it, you had to do the stupid mini game to like solve the puzzle, and it is so dumb.
The thing is, it's like the mini games are supposed to make you feel better about not answering a multiple choice question. Most of the time, I just want to go back to the multiple choice.
Yeah,
it's faster, and it's like that's more rewarding to me.
The way that I look at Danganronpa cases is they work when things are at a breakneck speed, when there's constant debates, when there's a ton of arguments, when there's actual guns, not really actual guns, but metaphorical guns being fired at each other with this insanely cool hype music in the background. And honestly, if the game was all of that, I think it would be much better. I think Danganronpa puts too much focus on being a game instead of just a straight up visual novel, that it sucks sometimes.
Yeah, and this fights with itself too. Like, everything is timed. This is the difference between it and like Phoenix Wright, where like most of the mini games, the nonstop debates in Danganronpa and the cross examinations in Phoenix Wright, they're both about finding contradictions using evidence. The problem being is that Phoenix Wright's not timed, which means you can go through, pages of evidence, and usually you'll have like 10 pieces of evidence, maybe 12 or something, I think. In Danganronpa, you may have upwards of like 16 to 18 to 20 pieces of evidence. And so when all you're seeing is the blurb of like, Celeste's testimony, it's like, what the fuck did that include? And so essentially you're working fast and loose with very little information, and you're on a timer technically. The arguments are appearing momentarily and then skipping away, which is exciting the first time, and then it's like, oh god, just get me to the thing. And so what breaks it down is that when you do forget what the evidence included, because some pieces of evidence have multiple clues inside the same thing, so when you want to go check that, you have to go into your evidence, and that pauses the timer. So the timer is useless in those cases. Most of the time they give you like an excessive amount of time anyways, especially if you're on the easier modes, which I always did because I didn't care about the minigames one bit. If you're one of the people on the Steam communities who insists when someone says, hey, what are the differences in the difficulty settings, they just say play hard mode. Like, I'm not listening to you. So but the minigames end up being like very fruitless. That none of them make you feel like you actually solved it, except for, what do you know, the multiple choice and the nonstop debates. So
and what's great about it is they try and tie it to the video game. So you'll literally have Makoto like think about like a hangman puzzle, and then he'll solve it in his mind, and it cuts all of the momentum from the debates. And the anime doesn't have fucking, what the hell am I trying to think? Oh, the momentum that the games have, because the music cuts out. And Danganronpa's music is insanely good.
Mm-hmm. You can thank Masafumi Takada for the music. Same person who did like The Silver Case. Same person who a lot of like Grasshopper manufacturer games. So that'd be Suda 51 games. You can thank him for that. Soundtrack's amazing. If you don't like Danganronpa, that's okay. You'll like the soundtrack probably.
And with the music in the background, it gets me so hyped. And I got so hyped every time the opening played in the anime, because I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it, let's go. And it showed all the characters. I'm like, hell yeah. And then the anime just fucking went to it. It was simultaneously way too short, and it dragged on for too long. It had none of the momentum when it needed it. Yep. And it's because it tried to incorporate game elements that it didn't need to incorporate.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the cases. I think this is a good place to kind of talk a little bit more in depth about characters, and also the issue regarding motive sometimes, and also the some of the shitty stuff that the cases have, but also some of the cases that are incredible because they're great. So the first case, as we talked about, Sayaka, the ultimate idol star, switches rooms with Naegi because she felt scared. And then she lures Leon, the ultimate baseball player, into her room to kill him. And it would look like Naegi killed him, so that everyone would blame Naegi, say Naegi did it, and then she would go free and everyone would die. Now, this is something that Sayaka planned. And she fails, and then Leon kills her because he feels that, because he feels like it's in self-defense, but once again, she was done trying to kill him because he successfully beat her back and had her hiding, and then she unlocked the door and killed her with a knife. So this case kind of introduces you to the idea of what's going on, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not just a murder. No one's just instantly killed. There's premeditativeness to it. And honestly, this isn't a bad case. It's really easy, though, because before Sayaka died, she scrawled Leon's name in blood, except it's upside down, so it looks like numbers. Who would have thought? How
quickly did you figure it out?
Our buddy figured it out literally in, 3 seconds. He saw it, and he goes, hey, that says Leon. And we're like, yep. And it kind of sucks because the game doesn't have a way to, bypass specific parts. You have to go through the entire case. Which, once again, makes it feel less like a game and more like a visual novel.
Yeah.
Which is fine. So we don't really get too much out of Sayaka or Leon. They're dead almost instantly. And during this time, the character disguising herself as Junko also gets killed. But that will come back later. She gets killed by Monokuma, the game master, for breaking the rules, which is a thing that can happen. Yep. So after that happens, it opens up the free time events, which is where a lot of the character development comes in. But the problem...
character development with an asterisk on it, a really big one.
Yeah, some characters' free time events are incredibly good, and some of them suck. We even did Yamada's, the ultimate fanfic writer. We did his free time events to see if they were as good as another character's.
If it would reconcile them.
Yeah, they weren't. They were just terrible. Like, nothing came from it.
I'll say that Yamada's events made him slightly more relatable as an artist and whatever. Like, but it wasn't nearly enough to like rescue his character.
Right.
He's still pretty unlikable. Yeah.
So the first case goes three of the people are dead, and once someone dies, more of the school opens to explore. So the next case is unfortunately the Chihiro case, where everyone has a secret that Monokuma gives out, and they said they'll reveal all the secrets unless someone kills someone. Now, as far as we know, we don't learn about everyone's secret. But as far as we know, no one was going to kill anyone based off this. But Chihiro, who dresses and presents as a girl, decides that because this is where the problematic shit comes in, right? Because their secret, and I'm just going to refer to Chihiro in gender neutral terms because we don't get to see Chihiro's
actual coming out.
Yeah, we don't see it. They get killed. So I'm going to just use gender neutral terms to just kind of like bypass any issues with it.
Yep.
They decide to go to Mondo, the ultimate biker leader, because they said, well, if my secret's going to come out, I at least want to be tough enough so that people can see it. And it's not a really good motive to do that. But it's fine, I guess. Like, it's not good, but it's not like it's the worst thing that happens, because the next thing's the worst thing that happens. Because Mondo feels so invalidated by this person wanting to better themselves that Mondo just kills them. Like,
instantly. Like, the way the anime paints it is especially bad, because it's like a heel turn.
Yeah, and like, up until
it is not like they're having the workout session, he's building up the thoughts or anything. Like, no. Yeah, it's just like, you think you're better than me? Clump.
And before this murder, you actually get some interesting character development between Mondo and the ultimate hall monitor, Taka, because they butt heads, but they find out, because they're trying to prove who's tougher, that they actually have a lot in common. So for like a split second, you actually see Mondo as like a person who cares. And Mondo gives his bullshit speech that he did it because like he was scared. It's bad, but what makes this case really weird is the ultimate affluent Byakuya. He takes Chihiro's body before the body announcement is made, because 3 people have to see the body for the body announcement made, and he sets Chihiro up to be as if they were murdered by like a well-known serial killer. Why he does this? It's not really explained. Like,
the way he says it is that he wanted to make it interesting because otherwise it would have been a really quick case to solve. Like he basically already knew it was Owada and was like, well, let's make it spicy.
And the way he said it is because he wanted to make sure that everyone was like, he tries to justify it in like a good way by saying like, well, we needed to make sure that we were looking at everything from every angle, because we can't just decide someone is guilty. But it doesn't.
I guess this was also so that he could have a reason to expose Genocide Jack / Genocider Show. Because he knew about that. And so he was going to, essentially it's like, he already sort of promised, no, I won't tell. But if it's part of the case, then he gets to spill it and no one gets to complain.
That's right. So it's like, it's really weird because there's better ways to do it, but Bakugan's kind of a dick anyway. Yeah. It's just not great. It doesn't make sense. And
for
no one
for Byakuya to make sense as a character later, you have to forget that happened.
exactly. And so Byakuya kind of does that. Now Mondo and Chihiro are dead. And this is when the game starts to get interesting, because the cast has now lost 5 of its members.
Mm-hmm.
So you're down to 10, which still seems like a lot, but it's enough that everyone gets their moments.
Yeah, it's enough to make an idol gotcha out of, but, it's not Battlegirl High School.
It's not. So with the dwindled cast, you start to see a little bit more. You start to see Toko develop a relationship with Byakuya. Kyoko and Makoto start to become better friends. Sakura, the ultimate martial artist, and Hina, the ultimate swim star, start to become really good friends. And that leads to one of the best parts of this game. A part of the game that I actually truly find amazing. But before we do that, we have to talk about the best fucking murder case. So after all these people are killed, they discover that Chihiro left behind a AI called Alter Ego, and Alter Ego believes that it can help, the program can help get them out of the school.
Yeah.
So suddenly the game flips. The killing game flips. It is no longer the only way to leave is to kill someone. It's now, we might be able to solve this together. And this is where Danganronpa gets good. Danganronpa as a generic killing game is fine, but when you have characters working against the system together,
Dismantling?
that's when it gets pretty intense, and that's where I think it's the best.
Agreed. 100%.
So, the next motivation for killing is that Monokuma offers $10 million to the person that makes it out of here alive after killing someone. Which is kind of a shitty reward.
Shitty offering.
Yeah, well, but like, and the thing is, it makes it worse because they don't really know this at the moment, so it makes sense. But the world's gone. Like, it's apocalyptic outside. So the money really doesn't mean much. But the Ultimate Gambler is part of the final 10 of these characters. So the Ultimate Gambler creates this incredibly long situation in which she's going to frame Hero, the ultimate psychic, in killing the ultimate detective, not the ultimate detective, the ultimate
Hall monitor.
Hall monitor, who, by the way, is absolutely upset that his friend Mondo died. And he's basically combined his personality with Mondo's personality. And the character arc makes sense because he saw that he himself being like this stand-up guy wasn't really going to do anything. But the problem is that the way that Celeste gets these two, and she also ropes in the ultimate fanfic writer Yamada into doing this. So they make a giant cosplay called Robo Justice. They put Hero inside of it, and then they knock him unconscious, and they carry him around, and then Yamada kills the ultimate
Hall monitor
Taka.
Compass.
And he does this because Celeste steals Alter Ego and tells Yamada that Taka stole Alter Ego.
So Celeste makes a better motive than Monokuma did.
Yes. So Yamada and Taka both like Alter Ego because Yamada is a creepy pervert who likes the idea of a digital waifu, essentially, that he gets to talk to. They do talk about how, like, Alter Ego actually kind of understands Yamada a little bit because Alter Ego is designed to learn. And so as Alter Ego learns, Yamada kind of becomes obsessed with them. And then Taka likes Alter Ego because Alter Ego can also channel Mondo. And he sees that as a way to see his dead friend. So there's a motive that exists. And then Yamada kills Taka, and then Celeste kills Yamada. So now you have a double kill with someone framed. So it's the only case in the entire fucking first game in which the murder is planned out, motivated, and it makes sense, and it's competently done.
Yep.
And it makes it one of the most fun cases to solve. Because you go through all the clues, you have to prove Hiro's innocence, and then you have to point to Celeste, and it's all because she made one mistake. And then you get one of the most emotionally goodbye scenes, I think, out of the entire, in terms of executions. When Mondo and Leon get executed, they kind of like, I can't do it. It's not my fault. They made me do it. And it it's like, yeah.
Awada's overly stoic. Leon's overly defensive. So they're both they fall flat a little bit.
But Celeste realizes that she's been beat. And she's like, yep, that's it. I'm done. And her kind of like understanding that it's the finale really makes it kind of hit hard.
Mm-hmm. And her poker face doesn't allow her to essentially even emote in those last moments.
Yep. It's really, really good. And with that, you're down to 7 people. Mm-hmm. And you have 7 people who all know that they can escape still. And that is the last murder that's done in the game. You still have 3 more cases technically, and there's no more murder. And it makes the rest of the game so much better.
Yep.
So after that, you have the Sakura case. So Brantley, do you want to explain our love for Sakura Ogami?
Big.
Yes.
Love is big for Sakura. Sakura is a well-written, thoroughly deep character sitting in this game. So, like, let's take a quick comparison between Sakura and her best friend Hina. So, Hina, the ultimate swimmer, is upbeat. She's, cheerful and sporty. Kind of go get 'em. And emotionally, kind of high energy. So that means she has high highs and low lows. When she's really depressed, but she bounces back quickly. And so that bounciness is basically her character encapsulated. But Sakura has a lot more, like, that sort of, complexifies her situation. So, first of all, she's a martial artist, who is, she's a young girl, incredibly jacked.
Like literal, like, tree trunks for legs.
Yeah.
Just huge. And
when you knew that one kid in 6th grade who started drawing muscles, like, that's what Sakura looks like.
One of the things I do like about Sakura is that she has a very deep voice. She's very she has like masculine ways that she approaches things, but she's still feminine.
Yes. She's like you take the maximum you max out the masculine and feminine sliders.
And
right?
and it works. It's so good. She wears like a sailor uniform, which looks like it kind of looks goofy at first, but then you're like, that makes sense.
And they never bring it up as like at least from what I remember, people will make comments that
she's the largest character in the game.
Yeah, some of them will make some derogatory comments depending on which game or anime you're looking at, but like, regardless, she never like reacts. She doesn't say like, "What are you talking about?" Like, she just lets it pass.
And she's respected. Like, everyone still likes her. Like, that's the thing. Like,
there's practically no one in the cast who dislikes her as a person.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's such a strong anchor for this game when everything else is just kind of so catty. She's the one person who's kind of like, exerting maturity on things.
And it works so well.
Yeah, but she's not an impenetrable steel wall. She very much cares for Hina, and that will drive her emotionally. She's willing to speak up and kind of, raise her voice if things are getting out of control. She's such an active part of the plot, and it's excellent that she's the one.
And here's a problem with Danganronpa. we started talking to Sakura as a character because when you talk to people during free time events, you get skills. And her skills are the best skills. Yes. But when you talk to Sakura, you find out that her entire past has to do with the fact that she feels that she's not the best at being the martial artist, that she doesn't deserve the ultimate title because there's someone out there that she thinks is better than her who got injured. And you have this entire, like, backstory of her feeling like an imposter because she can never have this final fight with this person. And it's so good. And the problem is that we don't know jack shit about half these characters because you cannot do the free time for every single person. You don't know when they're gonna die, which is fine. And then once you beat the game, you don't get a look into it. So if you want to look at it, you have to go find it on your own, which means you lose all of this character development, and they can't use that character development in the game.
Yep. So it's all optional, so they're not allowed to string it back in. Most of it has to be essentially non-canon.
Yeah, and it sucks because Sakura's was one of the reasons we fell in love with her. Like, we literally did it because she had the best perks. But as we did it, we were like, holy shit, this character is amazing. Mm-hmm. And that makes her death the worst.
Yeah. So,
after the Celeste execution, you find out that there's a secret room that Kirigiri found, and there's a student that's been hiding, and Makoto almost gets hit in the head, then wakes up, and he sees Sakura fighting Monokuma. And if you last time we saw someone fight Monokuma, they actually got killed, but Sakura doesn't get killed because she's just that powerful, but also because she's a spy. Which is a wild... In the way they do the spy thing, I think it makes so much sense, right?
Yes.
Sakura never once uses it. She was supposed to... Basically, her role, in case you're listening to this and still aren't playing, her role is to kill someone if no one will kill each other. But she refuses. Because Monokuma has, I think, her dojo, which is like her family and her people that she trained with. He has them hostage. He's going to kill him if she refuses. And she refuses. She's like, I'm not letting you control me anymore. If you do it, it's on you. It's not on me. But he outs her as the spy. So the remaining 7 characters, well, the other 6 characters, which is Toko, Kyoko Kirigiri, Makoto, Bakugan, Hina, and Hiro. They all start to distrust her, except for Hina.
And Makoto to an extent. I think Makoto
Yeah.
He's mulling it over, but for the most part, I think he trusts her.
Yeah, I mean, Makoto trusts everyone.
Yeah.
That's kind of his shtick. And so, Sakura basically invites everyone to basically say goodbye. Because she didn't want to be under Monokuma's control anymore, but she also didn't want to kill anybody.
So she's basically, come make your peace. We're going to talk this out. Person to person, one-on-one. And so that's going to be like the last chance.
And so Hiro comes in, gets scared, and smashes her with a bottle and knocks her unconscious.
No, she doesn't even pass out.
She doesn't even pass out. She just sits down.
Just tanks it.
And then Toko comes in and sees her with the bloody face, and then she hits her on the head with another object.
Because she swapped over to Genocide Jack, Genocider Show. She steps out of the locker, she flips, and then takes a swing.
Yeah. And so you're basically under the assumption that either Hiro or Toko killed Sakura. But it turns out you can't kill Sakura. She is unkillable. And she asks Hina to bring her protein shake because Hina comes in and sees that she's bloodied and is sad. And then she poisons herself and kills herself.
With the room locked. Essentially, to tell everyone, in a way, that, yes, in fact, it's just me doing this.
Well, she leaves a note.
Yeah.
And this is where the plot kind of gets wonky, and Monokuma starts to break the rules that he gave. So she leaves a note saying that she's killing herself because she doesn't want Monokuma to control her anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's sad. it's so heavy. It's like one of the most it is one of the legitimately most tragic things in a game that I've seen. And it's done so well because not only did she do that because of just this incredible, like, terrible situation, but she wasn't even able to make peace with the people that she thought she betrayed. It's so tragic, and it's so written so well, and it's so sad. And they do it well. Like, it's not romanticized. It's not. This is why it's weird when there's bad shit in Danganronpa. Because this is such a well-written part of it. It is, depressing. It's well-written. It's not romanticized. It's a serious event. There's almost no jokes. And they make jokes a lot.
It's also, like, the only time they do, like, a reference to pop culture and it actually passes. Because they reference the pose of Joe in Ashita no Joe, where he dies in the ring, sitting down with a smile on his face.
Spoiler alert.
I guess, I need to put that in for Ashita no Joe spoilers in case we record. Sincerely. But yeah, like, every other reference they've done in all the games that I've seen is just literally a tasteless reference to be like, isn't that like this? It's just that. This is the one time they actually, like, made it tasteful.
Yeah, it's really good. And during this trial, Hina knows that she killed herself. She doesn't know right away, but she figures it out before everyone else does. And she tries to get people to say that she did it. Because if they say that she did it, they all die. Because at that point, Hina doesn't think any of them are worth redeeming because they hurt her best friend. And it's plays so well into the final act of this game.
It also is the most well-animated scene in the anime.
By, like, a large margin.
Yeah, and they picked the right one.
Yeah, and to be fair, out of all the cases, that is one of the cases that translates well into the anime. Because it doesn't have, like, a lot of, like, high energy, quick gags and shots and stuff. It's a very somber, serious moment. So not having the energy of the game makes it a lot better.
Yeah.
And boy, and it's the reason that all the other cases exist. And I think that's something that Danganronpa likes to do. It has to go through shit to get to the gold, because if all the cases were this good, I don't think it would stand out as much. That's not to say that it can't be improved, but this is the fucking nugget, man.
They need to drop you down the trash chute. Like Naegi.
Which they do in the next game. So now that Sakura is gone, and now that there's no spy, Monokuma has no cards. He has nothing. And Monokuma starts cheating. So the last case of the game, second to last case of the game technically, is he takes Mukuru's body, which he killed earlier in the
guise of Junko.
Mukuru was disguised as Junko, and Monokuma killed her. And then he throws the body into a place, and it's like, haha, it's the murder. It's time. And because of that, you're like, oh shit. it's it. Like, who killed her? And the answer is fucking nobody. Because it was just a body. But he hid all the evidence, he hid everything, and that's something that Monokuma hasn't done before. Because Monokuma promised he wouldn't interfere with any of the things. Yeah. But with the final six being Kyoko, Hina, Toko, Bakugan, Makoto, and Hiro, none of them were going to kill. And it was very blatantly obvious. And this is where, and once again, this is where Danganronpa gets good. So the final cases decide who killed Mukuro. And there's not a lot of evidence to point in one direction. It's basically just thrown in, it's everywhere. So you actually get to see each of the characters find their own evidence and start to accuse people. And it turns out they think it's Makoto. And because of that, and Kyoko does. Kyoko starts to tell Makoto that it's him, and Makoto is like, wait a second, she knows something that I don't know, and so he goes with it. And during the execution, you found out that Alter Ego has hacked into the internet and hacked into the systems, and he saves him. And this is the only time that Makoto's, well, not the only time, but it's at that time where Makoto's ultimate luck starts to become a thing. Because before then, you don't see it. Yep. And this is where it's good. So I think that Danganronpa as a whole is fine. It's a mediocre expression of a killing game. But when you get down to the final 6, and you have character development, and you have arcs, and you have everything that came in behind it, that's when the show finally starts, or the anime or the video game starts to feel complete. And this is true for the second game too. No spoilers for the second game here, but it's same thing. The final 6 characters, or well, there's more than 5. There's more than that or less than that in the second one. I actually do not remember. But the final characters make the game because they actually have an arc. So yeah. And then you find out that Junko, who had Mukuru disguised as her, is the mastermind behind it, and that she's been controlling Monokuma. And you get probably the other part in the anime that worked, and it's where she basically gives them an ultimatum. If everybody votes for Hope, they all go free. They all go free into an apocalyptic world, because they now know it's apocalyptic. If one person votes for Despair, everybody that doesn't vote for Despair dies. And if everybody votes for Despair, everybody gets to stay and hang out at the school forever, in this cushy lifestyle, and then Makoto dies. And instead of it being a case about deciding who's the victor and deciding who's the winner and who's the killer and who's the victim, it's all about convincing people not to give up on hope. And I know it sounds cheesy, and it is. It's fucking cheesy as hell. But it works.
It's Makoto's special recipe. It's mac and cheesy, man. Mac and cheese. Fuck. Move on.
And that's the thing. So each of the cases vary in quality by an insane degree. Some of them suck as cases, as in they're bad cases. None of the shit makes sense. Some of them just have lazy motives. Some of them are really good cases, but not necessarily emotionally tearing. And then some of them are incredibly good at being emotion. And it's just it's not a roller coaster. It's just a fucking drop and rise.
Yeah.
So that's Danganronpa, baby.
So here's a great question. Why would you ever try the anime over the game?
If you don't have 40 hours
40
to dedicate to a game, and you really, really want to know what happens, but you're too, like, if you have a quiz tomorrow on Danganronpa over the plot, watch the anime. If you don't, watch a playthrough of the game, or get the game yourself. But have someone experience it with you. That is my takeaway from this, because I like I said, I do stop thinking about Danganronpa. That's an over-exaggeration. But this is a media obsession of mine. Because I have people to talk to about it and make theories. And stuff like the Sakura arc is so good.
Yeah, and by the way, this game does have a lot of text, but it's become a trend recently, after we started playing them, but, before we launched this episode, but people will read out the text, and so there is a way to listen through it if you've got no other options. By the way, Grant, how does it feel to know that Terry Crews officially beat us to anime game content on the internet? In a particular topic.
I'm fucking pissed.
Hey, we have it on record that we announced we were doing this next, and then Terry Crews came in with the charity move.
So here's my theory. Terry Crews is one of our very few subscribers.
It's me!
And he saw this, and he's like, shit, I need to beat them to it.
Let me have an important moment with my son and the internet in order to...
I will say that Danganronpa spiked in popularity again once we started playing it, and I'm sure it's because It was on you got it on Steam.
Yes, I got it on sale. It's gone through a couple sales since then, I think.
But like Game Grumps started playing it, a couple other Let's Play channels have started playing it. I started seeing Danganronpa posts on the front page of Reddit that I'm not subscribed to because I don't want spoilers. But yeah, it's a fun Danganronpa. God. Man, I thought that was...
This sucks.
I will say that something about Danganronpa has opened a interest in me that I didn't know I had, and that is the experience of social gaming single player games.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing to talk about.
Let's have a talk about social gaming.
Yeah, okay. So as we said before, this game has been played with at least 2 other people. And it has become one of a staple in our Discord server for the 4 of us to be like, when's the next time we're going to play? And it's a very odd bunch of people. I wouldn't say we're all friends on the server, but the people that do it, besides me and Brantley, have minimal connection to each other outside of Danganronpa. But because of Danganronpa, our bonds have grown so much more fucking stronger. And I think that playing games, especially visual novels that are both good and bad, really can help that.
Here's my comparison. So sometimes on Discord, Grant will stream The Simpsons.
Hey, I don't stream The Simpsons. I don't stream The Simpsons.
Grant doesn't stream The Simpsons. This was a prank.
Disney, I'm not illegally sharing.
This was a social prank. This was a joke. This is research.
Social prank. It's a joke. Anyway, continue.
But when Grant doesn't do that, everyone's like quiet. There's like laughs,
or they're playing other games.
But normally you're making conversation still while you're playing games. The Simpsons is the exception. That's the watering hole. Danganronpa is the gazelle carcass that everyone suddenly swarms to, but only a select number of people actually care to. But what do you know? It's that twisted carnal instinct. And it's the smell of death. And we just hone in on it.
Yeah, 100%. Danganronpa makes me want to stream games because I want people to talk to me while I play video games, and I want them to get invested in the video games like I do. The amount of inside jokes that have spawned from Danganronpa is an astronomically high number, to the point where when we're playing other games in the series, we'll reference back to some of the original jokes that we made. So one of our longest running jokes is in the first case when Sayaka is dead, when she bit the fucking dust and is sitting in the closet, or the bathroom. You can investigate the room, but if you haven't found Sayaka, every time you investigate something, Makoto goes, "But more importantly, where's Sayaka?" And every single time that someone says "more importantly" in anything, we ask where's Sayaka. And Sakura Ogami is the ultimate ghost. That's a goof that we've been doing. So we'll bring Sakura back into other Danganronpa just because we love her so much.
See, do you feel left out? This is your test. If you feel left out, guess you just have to go watch the anime or play the game.
And it's like we're not trying to leave people out, but there's something about the connection that comes from a natural social gathering around this game. I really wish we played it during quarantine so that we could have just blown through it.
I think there is a fun hook though to having to stretch it out, because once again, so in that interview, thanks again to Archipelago Caravan, but Kodaka says he wants the game to feel like you're just constantly hooked in it, and he doesn't want there to be a distinct stopping point, and that's real, and it sucks because these are long games, and so you always have to tear yourself away from it. Incredibly effective at that. I hate him for it.
It's why the game has such a popular following. I mean, the game is incredibly popular. I remember Danganronpa fandom being a thing before it was even translated.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I caught the wave as it was being translated, essentially. I remember my first encounter was being on Tumblr, and I saw fan art of Asahina, and she was with a bunch of donuts, and they said Danganronpa on it. And I was like, what? I was like, by the way, like, I was trying to be super anime savvy at that time. I was trying to be the anime guy among my friends. And so it's like, how did that slip by me? What is this? Type it up. It's like, oh, okay, time to go down this rabbit hole. And then I watched a 40-hour Let's Play.
It's an experience. Yeah. So, do you have any thoughts about Danganronpa? Do you want to explore the themes, Brantley?
I do, and I also want to talk about our tier chart. If we can just blow through that.
Yeah, let's blow through our tier chart.
So when we're done with each of these games, we sort out, tiers of essentially what we thought of the characters. Instead of just doing like an S rank down, we do have some clarifications as to, what that rank actually means, because it's not just strictly like a sliding scale. So what we're going to do is we're going to start from the bottom up in terms of our favorite characters, the worst to the best. So at the very bottom is the "Where's Sayaka" category. So it's really good that Grant actually explained this joke before, so I don't have to explain it now. Sayaka felt pretty absent. We didn't really have a lot to say for her as a character just because she's gone so quick. And so she got her own category at the bottom. I actually don't dislike her that much. I think the anime likes me like her more, seeing kind of like, because they actually get to stage things in the anime, whereas in the game it's just kind of character pop-ups in the room. You get to actually have like, character blocking, and they're moving around and they're sitting down places and whatever. That actually helped a little bit, but for the most part, she was a nothing character. We just kind of agreed, well, let's put her in a special category that means nothing.
Listen.
She's not the worst. It was mostly for the joke.
Yeah.
She probably fits somewhere else in the
She probably fits in the middle tier, which we'll get to. Yeah.
Yeah.
The actual worst tier is no. And that tier belongs alone to Hifumi Yamada, the ultimate fanfic creator.
I suppose.
One rung up from that, we have concept needs serious therapy. Essentially to say, this character could work, but it's gonna need major revisions, almost to the point where it couldn't work anymore. Like with Hifumi Yamada, we feel like, okay, if we remove any of these, the parts that we actually don't care for in this character, he's not going to be the same character. He's just a different person now. So, yes, that's why that's the bottom of the barrel there. But we do think characters like, Toko Fukawa could be rescued. Her whole, like, horny for Byakuya Togami thing, it gets kind of tiring, and there's just kind of nasty.
Shut up!
Yeah, it's
and so it's like this could be done better. It's the feeling.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Also in this category is Junko Enoshima, the villain of the game. As the main antagonist,
so uncool.
She doesn't have a motive, which was a point made, but I think that blows. So she's sitting in that category.
Everything is pointless!
I kind of want to explore that a little bit
Yes.
more. So Junko's whole shit is that she's the ultimate despair. She lives off people feeling unhopeful. It's bad. It's a bad motive. She has nothing else beside that, and like they don't ever expand on it.
Yep.
There are some other villain-like characters that are introduced later that have a little bit more of a motive, despite it being tied to despair. But since you don't interact with Junko till the very end, she just kind of is like, I just want people to feel bad because it makes life less boring.
I just got so fucking bored waiting, I couldn't help it!
That's it. That's her shtick, and it doesn't work.
It can be the point, but we don't have to like it.
I think that Junko's serious therapy just falls into her motive. If she had it's kind of like hard to create a motive for why someone would create a killing game. Like take Saw for instance, right? The entire purpose of Saw is that the people that are in it are bad people, and it's to like redeem them, right? It's a better motive, right? You got to explore the concept a little bit more to create this motive, and I think, for Junko, for instance, maybe she felt like the world was a corrupt and bad place, so she created ultimate despair to take it down, and now she is trying to weed out the people who won't help the future regrow. Right there, better concept.
Better yet, she's the ultimate fashionista. Basically, I mean, there's a whole lot you could do with that to make a point. That she is, an underage girl being exposed to the fashion industry, and modeling basically requires her to be objectified constantly. And so then there becomes this thrill out of exposing what people actually think, and like essentially digging into reality as opposed to the fake layer that she's been living in.
Damn, that's that's so good.
But also, like, I don't know if that would satisfy me either, like, because again, she's the conductor of a killing game,
right?
An incredibly elaborate one at that. So it's like, I don't know if that would help, and so I think that the point then was like, well, if you would go this far, you there is no reason.
Yeah. And the game plays loose with materials, so they'll be like, oh, our food restocks every night, and you're like, how? It's not explained. One of the things about Danganronpa is you just gotta learn that it's shallow. They're not going to go into detail. They're not going to explain it, and if you don't accept that, you might not have a good time.
Yeah. Also, she shares with Toko the horny for punishment shtick. And so it's kind of like, okay, I get it.
And yeah, it's pretty shitty.
Yeah. Okay, one rung up. This is my trash. Which is bad concept but fine writing. And this gets one person alone, and that is Genocide Jack, or Genocider Show.
What's that? Is something wrong?
I think here's the thing about Genocide Jack. Genocide Jack tied to Toko is bad, right? I don't think that Genocide Jack and Toko, I think they could have done it a little bit better. But it's
there's some good joke gut punches where Togami will say something and then immediately they'll cut to Toko's sneezing on purpose to swap identities, and those get me.
Yeah, and if Genocide Jack wasn't a serial killer and it was just some sort of thrill seeker, I think it would have been better. I think,
or a delinquent.
Yeah, but I love there's a character in the second game that I specifically didn't like at first, but I started to like them because they will just say fuck you to a specific character, and I'm like, hell yeah, I'm all for that. And Genocide Jack does that. She's straight up will be or Genocide Jill. She has a bunch of different names. She's like, hey, stop being a bitch. And I'm like, yeah, you tell it. And I think that's where that character comes out. I think having a character who's just straight up going to call people out on their bullshit in the most crude way, it fits a game like this. And I think that's why the concept is bad. The serial killer who kills the men she loves is terrible as a character, as a concept that's supposed to be a joke character, but her lines are really funny.
Yeah, this is the case where I think Kodaka succeeds in making the whole making light of something dark.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's where it's this fine line. I feel like Genocider manages to land that just barely,
but it works. I think if he leaned into it a little one way or the other, it could have been better. But I think I don't think you should remove Genocide Jack. I don't think that Toko's character would work without those gut punches. Yes. I think some of the way the characters treat it are bad, but I think overall it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So our next tier up is God. In other words, wow, you didn't bring anything to the table, did you? So that would be our main character, Makoto Naegi, Ultimate Luck. We have Leon Kuwata, the ultimate baseball star.
Shut up!
And then we have Mukuro Ikusaba, the ultimate soldier. They're either, never getting enough literal time in the game for their characters to, for us to make anything of it, or it's Naegi just being a mirror for anyone he's talking to in the game. So, that is that.
I think that if Sakura wasn't in her joke category, she'd be here too.
Really?
Well, like
you mean Sayaka?
Oh yeah, Sayaka.
You
not
said
Sakura.
and
I
was
did say
about
Sakura.
to attack you through the internet.
I would have been killed by you.
I was about to fucking Mega Man jack in, power up into my Ethernet cable, and come out the other end and deck you in the face, you motherfucker.
No, Sayaka would have been Yan. I think that Sayaka had a lot of interesting concepts that could have been played with her idol stuff, but they weren't explored. So Sayaka is a Yan.
Yes. All right. Next rung up. Good concept needs TLC. Owada is actually in this category. Mondo Owada, the ultimate biker gang leader.
What the hell are you talking about?
As much as I hate his motive, he gets up here because of Taka.
Mm-hmm.
And almost that's it. Taka Owada doesn't really get built until that point. I guess he is the shit starter before Genocider, and so that works partially, but he's also mostly just a nothing character then. But then he actually gets, you get to see the light and dark of his character, and that's all right. I think they need to work on it.
Yeah,
but
that's what TLC is.
Yes, exactly. I like where they started. Just adjust from there. Course correction. Also in this category is Yasuhiro Hagakure, the ultimate fortune teller.
How about that?
So, as evident by the fact that we rarely talked about him throughout the entire episode so far, it's because he has a ton of screen time and a ton of lines, and he can genuinely be funny, but his character is basically played for gags that he's stupid.
Comic relief.
And I think they could have gone a little bit deeper into him as a character. He literally has no character outside I'm stupid and believe in fortune stuff.
Yeah. He's meant to be the non sequitur character, and his power only gets used maybe once, and it's for a joke. It's rough because it's he like Naegi has a really interesting talent. I would love to see that he's just constantly throwing shit out. And then when he finally gets it right, you're like, oh my god, he got it right. But they don't really utilize it. It's weird.
And it's weird because they profess it by saying, I'm 37% correct. Right?
Yeah.
So wouldn't have put it out that it wouldn't have not made sense for him to throw shit out and it not be right. But he could be right. I will also say that it is funny because if in the demo version of Danganronpa, there is only one case and Yasuhiro is the victim. He's killed. I think it's the exact same case except they replace Sakura with Yasuhiro. Sayaka. Fuck. And I think that's fun because it's oh, you played the demo. Haha, just kidding. Yeah, I would have liked to see them delve a lot more into him as a character, especially because he's gotten so much screen time. Because you're going to notice that as we climb to the top, the people that see the most that are in here get a lot more. We like him a lot more.
Yeah. So yeah, only a few categories left. Good concept, easy fixes. That would be Chihiro Fujisaki, the ultimate programmer.
Yay!
For obvious reasons we've already outlined. We have Aoi Asahina, or it would be Asahina Aoi. I don't remember. But ultimate swimmer.
Yeah.
For her, I think she's mostly there. We kept passing her back and forth between this tier and the top tier. But it feels like she just doesn't quite get the chance to do enough. She's a good backbone for the game, seriously. She's right up there with Sakura in that term. But I wish that they'd be able to use her a little more, and her ultimate swimming ability never gets touched. Like, she mentions she wants to go for a swim, and then that doesn't really happen, and the only other thing they use her as is an athlete. It's kind of like, easy fix.
Yeah, easy fix. The next one, we have Celestia Lunaberg, good concept, easy fixes.
Well,
We actually talked about her recently. So she's supposed to be the ultimate gambler, and it makes sense that she goes out on one big gamble, right? But other than that, I feel like her relationships with other characters is super limited, and as much as she is in the game, she's the last murderer, right? You don't really see her interact with characters outside the people she kills.
Once again, it's a case like Owada and Taka where the relationship gets built right before it's needed. Where she starts using Hifumi Yamada before then he's used in the case. But like, it's too late at that point. I would have wished Celeste did more besides stand on the sidelines and make comments about like game theory and economics. I wish you would have had at least one other anchor, and I mean that for everybody who doesn't get enough time. They just need more involvement, which of course means more time.
And the game's already
that's a balancing act. Yeah.
It's one of those things where you kind of have to accept that some characters are just going to be garbage.
Yep, I don't envy this process at all. Someone decided, I'm going to try to do Battle Girl High School but good. All power to them. Like, Godspeed. Can't help you.
We have Tumblr Sexy Man Bakugan here as well. Byakuya, the ultimate affluent prodigy.
Yes. Byakuya Togami also is good concept, easy fixes.
How disappointing.
If he didn't fuck with Chihiro's body, I think he would be Yasher. I think I think him fucking with Chihiro's body really kind of screws up, like it fucks with his ending development of him kind of. There's a part where he finally becomes friends with Makoto. Like, you can see him become friends with Makoto near the like last case. And you're like, oh shit. He gets it. He gets that he's not alone. Because it kind of feels like he has to do everything himself because he's a spoiled rich boy.
Yeah. He's doing like the spoiled rich boy version of, hey, come check this out.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice.
Yeah. And I wish we got to see more of that. I think his relationship with Toko is kind of meh.
Yeah.
If they fix, like, seriously, easy fixes. Make his relationship with Toko a little bit better and give him a little less fucking with a murder scene.
Yeah. And one more we do have in this category is Mukuro Ikusaba as Junko Enoshima.
Totally.
So this could almost be Yon. But
I think the reason that this is a good concept easy fix is because having Mukuro disguised as Junko could have really made a lot of sense and made
it's a good concept.
It could have, but she dies too early.
Yes.
So because she dies so early, you don't get to explore this concept of her pretending to be her sister. And the only thing you get from it is she says it's not supposed to be this way, which is supposed to be like a reference to like her being a spy. They don't say that in the anime, which makes the death almost meaningless. But
yeah.
I would have liked it if she stayed. I would have liked it if she got killed like during the Celeste murder.
Yeah. What's upsetting to me is that she actually speaks more about her fashionista role in her deception that the actual Junko Enoshima does.
Yeah.
Because at the very beginning, Naegi is like, hey, you don't actually look that much like your photos. She's like, yeah, they just photoshopped the heck out of them. And that's like a cute moment.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of grounding for the character. and then that's it.
Yep, and
That's
it would have worked if it like seriously easy fix, and
Yeah.
that might have gotten more problems, but I would have loved to see more of that, and it would have made the twist a little bit better too.
Yeah, more pressure, more resolution, whichever.
So I think the next tier should have just been yeah sure without the question mark.
I put yeah sure because I feel like there's always a little bit of that, like, oh, I don't know, maybe this could have been a little bit better. But really, it is the highest honor we can award besides the Sakura Ogami, first prize trophy.
S tier stands for Sakura Ogami.
Me.
It does. And so our otherwise top tier includes two characters, obviously the last one. So it's Kiyotaka Ishimaru.
Count on it.
And Kyoko Kirigiri.
Am I wrong?
Do you want to talk about these two, Grant?
Yeah, so Taka is once again the ultimate hall monitor. We realize that the reason that we like him is because he has an arc, and that's something that we've discovered, that the further you are to the more likely you are to be at the bottom, the less of an arc you have. And Taka's arc is accepting that he doesn't need to be the leader. He doesn't need to be the one that's giving orders, because that doesn't always work. You see him actually mourn over his friend's death, which is something that you don't really see any of the other characters do. Even Hina and Sakura, after the case, there's not a lot of mourning. It's almost instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk about Sakura, but you see Taka actually deal with his friend's death. His character jokes are funny. I really like his like overly like seriousness in a lot of these weird situations.
He's a good staple.
He is. I think he's a good person to kill. I don't think he would have made a good last. I don't think he would have made good if he made it to the final round.
I agree.
But he also kind of fit this shtick during the Celeste murder, where he might have been the murderer when you didn't find his body, because he wore a suit that said Ultimate Justice, and that's what he's all about.
Justice Robo,
that's what it is. And I think it works. I think Taka has a completed arc, and his death doesn't feel like it came too soon.
Yeah. By the way, I want to say that because I'm an idiot coward, I did forget his name again. Besides just Taka, and so I did look up on my phone Danganronpa Taka in order to check that out before I had to say it again. And in the people also ask section, the top question is, how old is Taka Danganronpa? So that's his new name. His name is Taka Danganronpa.
And then we have Kyoko Kirigiri. I think in the anime she's not a good character. In the anime she's really suddenly there, and then it's fast. But she's very aloof and very mysterious at the beginning. And then as she starts to trust you and open up, once again, it's the completed character arc that she gets. Mm-hmm. Her dad was the person that created the high school to start out with. And the high school was originally just used as a shelter, then turned into a prison for the killing game, essentially. And so she has this estranged father thing, with her detective skills. She's fun to watch. Her design is really good. And there's not really much to say about her, and I think that's kind of why we said the yeah sure question mark.
Yeah, she could almost be Yawn, but she's a really good support pillar.
Yep. I think
she's got an arc,
and she doesn't really. She's not boring, right? She has some exciting situations, and I wish we got to see her more. She's always very solemn and very monotone. I really wish we got to see a little bit more of her goofiness. And the anime does show that, and I think that is good, but you get to see it very, very little. And of course, our top tier is Sakura Ogami, who we've already talked about. Mm-hmm. I just cannot stress how much of a good character she is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that maintains throughout the series too, so, I do think overall this is a strong cast. Just in so when we're watching the anime, they'll do this thing a lot where they try to pose match the characters. So the anime is almost just them kind of moving from pose to pose. I kind of wish they just did that, just like the character poses again, and really cut down, really made it cheap. Anyways, they read strong. Like, these are good, character frames, basically. Not all of them are, written thoroughly enough to be, like, I would say, strong character designs, but certainly a lot more interesting than your dime a dozen gotcha cast, right? So, yeah. Grant, how do you save this anime adaptation?
That's a rough one. I do not think that you can make Danganronpa an anime.
It's Gibietto over again, right? Like, you don't. The answer is don't.
You
almost.
don't. That's not to say that Danganronpa as a media can't be improved or that it shouldn't exist, because I think the game is perfectly serviceable. And I'm hard on it, and I'll say, like, Danganronpa is bad, but it's because it comes from a place of love.
This is my trash.
It is my trash. And it's not all trash. I think that if you wanted to make an anime, you would have to focus on a completely separate set of characters. And you would have, and the problem is I watched some clips from one of the anime series that's not based off of a game, because they have two. And I think Danganronpa doesn't quite work in the way that it did in that one, because it showed all the graphic goriness and all the murder weapons and all the excessive pink blood. And I don't think Danganronpa fits that. I don't think it's supposed to be a shock value show. I think Danganronpa works best when you find the body, you find the murder scene. I think if you try and delve too deep in the how, you lose the why. So I would say if you just did another killing game with a completely different set of characters, I think that's how you would have to do a Danganronpa anime.
Mm-hmm. Now, if not anime, what format would you recommend? Let's say that we don't do anime, but we could do something else besides a game. What would you What would you suggest?
I think a good novel. I don't think a manga would work. I think it would have too much clutter in terms of like pictures and stuff. But I think if you made a novel from a first-person perspective, I think it could work fine. I think you could cut down on a lot of the shittiness, too. And you're not expecting, like, novels don't have a time length. You're not like, oh, I need to fit this into a 12-episode show. Or I need to fit this into, like, a 3-hour movie. You could be like, oh, it's going to be 1,000 pages. It's a murder mystery. Get cracking. I also think that would allow a little bit more dramatic foreshadowing. I think having to play mini games and solve questions kind of removes the haha, I figured it out moment. Because there's times where we figured it out and we're like, ugh, just get to the fucking point already. But like if they said the numbers were, what was it, 77307 for Leon? Or 11037, because if they wrote that down, it might have been less obvious that it was Leon. It would have been obvious, but less obvious.
Yeah.
And you could throw in some more interesting dialogue, and you wouldn't have to try and keep the momentum going that the game has.
That's true. You don't have to worry so much about staging and blocking things.
Yep.
But like at the same time, think of like how much wind up this game has. Like, I almost can't imagine dragging someone through that in the novel.
Well,
it gets worse in other games, but like, yeah. I guess. It is kind of like, it's an upside down pyramid of information that you have to work your way through before you can sort of work from the ground up again.
Right.
But like, yeah, I could see that. I would say an ONA. Like, super cheap. We're talking like we're posing, like we're just doing the character poses, and we have like voice actors and actresses just speaking through them. And we're just kind of like wiggling them around, and we're doing like incredibly short breaks of the game and splitting it into tiny pieces. I almost think that could work as promotional material. because I don't know what this anime serves to do. It gives you the plot, which ideally means you don't have to go buy the game, or vice versa. So, like, maybe the ONA gives, like, you know, like, they release it slowly over time, and it doesn't show the case, but it shows the in-betweens of the build-up or something. But then again, that's an entirely different thing again. It's not an adaptation.
I don't think it's possible.
Revision.
I do not think it's possible to make anything other than a game. The author of it, I will never remember his name.
Kodaka.
He mentioned that.
Yeah.
When he was talking about his interview, he talked about
Congratulations.
how he said, like, I like to use games as the medium of storytelling because it allows you to make this shallow, wide net that you get to explore. And you can make the setting more important, which I know he likes a lot.
Yeah. We've already kind of talked about the themes, so to save us some time, I'm not going to really bring it up for once. Instead, I'm just going to brush past it. So, obviously, like, there's a focus on, like, even a worm will turn, you know? Like, that's kind of like the hook originally.
Hope conquers despair. What's all that?
Yeah, I think it evolves into the whole, like, fight the system thing.
I think
yeah,
the future games have better themes.
Yeah, I would say so. But at the very least, I can't appreciate that, like, they have an underlying message that, like, systems rely on these, like, inclusive interlocking gears. That, like, if you want everyone to work together, you have to have a system that incentivizes that. And it's very easy to break that system. However, if a system is broken, then you can fight to keep breaking it until it's disassembled and then redo it, which is what the characters do. There's other things like, you know, there's no light without shadow. In other words, you don't get the good cases without the shitty ones.
Yeah, I don't think that's a theme. I think that's a...
I think it's a consequence.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's what it boils down to. So, why don't we go ahead and get to the final fun stuff, okay?
Okay.
Alright, Grant. It's time for hypotheticals.
Hell, yes. If we ever make shirts, I want that a shirt. It's time for hypotheticals. And
that
also,
sounds like a Big Bang Theory thing.
Oh, it does, but it's not. I think let's talk about themes is a good one too. That's a coffee mug.
Yeah.
But we're far away from branding.
I want a shirt of metallic rolling balls.
I want one that just says gun in the period.
That's all Danganronpa is.
It is. I do love the gun motif that Danganronpa has. I think that all of it is great. And
that's where a back of the box quote for the review would be. I do like the gun. Familiar territory.
Okay. So let's talk about hypotheticals.
Yes. First question. This is a thinker. Head scratcher time. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You ready to solve this puzzle, Naegi? So, What are you the ultimate of?
So I actually I knew this was coming. I fucking knew it was coming.
Got me.
I knew it. I was thinking about it at work. So, in terms of skills that I have as Grant, I'm very good at talking, and I'm very good at talking to people. I'm very good at maintaining friendships. But in things that I feel like they would put me on the cover as a Danganronpa character and turn it to a joke, I would be the ultimate dungeon master in D&D. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I am going to toot all my horns. I've been told multiple times that I'm always everyone's favorite DM. That being said, I think Tucker, your brother, has me beat on a lot of aspects. But a lot of people, I've gotten a lot of people into D&D, like an insane amount of people. I just like playing it.
You should get referral commissions.
I'm very good at improvising D&D, so I don't write a lot. And I also constantly bring things back to D&D. So that would be so fucking in character Danganronpa writing. I'd be like, oh man, like when someone when the main character like shoots down an argument, I'd be like, oh man, he scored a nat 20. Or like, man,
that is in line with Danganronpa quality writings.
Or his charisma score's out the roof. Or like when someone like dies and like they look like they fell on a spear, I'd be like, he failed his dex save.
Wow. Okay. I was about to say Jesus, but like also that's what we're dealing with Danganronpa. So congrats.
See, that's the thing, right? Like
you have to take it a step down.
Yeah, it's like you can, because like there's no nuance in characters with like ultimate like gamer or ultimate like baseball, actually the baseball star, or ultimate like fanfic writer or ultimate writer. You know, they always bring it up.
Danganronpa, lower the brow.
You do. And it'd probably be like ultimate tabletop gamer and not dungeon master, because I'm pretty sure Wizards of the Coast would get really upset with that.
Mm-hmm. And you can't say game master because then it sounds like you're the mastermind.
Yeah. It'd be like tabletop gamer. And it would just be all references to dice rolls and like ability scores, and my character outfit would be a wizard robe, and I would have a staff with a dice on it.
Looks like someone multi-classed in murderer.
I would make it to the end.
Fucking course you would.
No, I will kill the annoying character and get away with it.
Wow. You know, it's funny. Actually, I can't say that. Never mind.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Okay, we still have to get you through the rest of Danganronpa, man.
Yeah,
what about... I do like the idea of you being the ultimate friend. Being an ultimate friend in Danganronpa.
I'd get killed so fast, though.
That's true. It's true.
Like I'd be too trusting, and then I'd get murked immediately.
Yeah.
What would your ultimate ability be, Brantley?
Oh, you know I'd be the ultimate white kid.
Oh my god. Okay, so I do.
Do you want to give your headcanon?
No, not even a headcanon. I just want to talk about how that fits you so well. So I do want to. Brantley's not like the ultimate white kid in like terms of like doesn't understand privilege or is ignorant to like the plight of minorities and like doesn't believe in intersectionality and all that stuff. Brantley's the ultimate white kid because he will eat buttered white bread for dinner.
I literally did yesterday. When a call outpost to me.
When I was in college with Brantley and we'd go to the food court, he would get like a burger with nothing on it. Brantley once told me that orange chicken was too spicy. So like, I love Brantley to death, and I would die for him and kill for him.
You would kill my character and get away with it. I'm the most annoying character that you would kill.
But Brantley has said the most white shit I've heard. All right.
I do have a premise. So, I wrote a little. I do occasionally write fan fiction when I can get the time and mental capacity. So I wrote myself a little bit of plot detail. I would yeah, so everyone would be down after the first murder, whatever that would be.
I do like to. I pulled a fast one on you by knowing you would ask me this question. You pulled a fast one on me by knowing that I'd ask you about it back.
Yeah. That's the secret. I don't have to be funny. I just have to be early. So here's the thing. Everyone's down because Sayaka's dead and Leon has been pelted. And so we're all just kind of sulking. Owada puts extra soy sauce in my rice during breakfast while I'm not looking, and then I eat it and I start coughing and sputtering and hacking because it's too spicy.
Soy sauce isn't spicy.
And everyone in a rush of endorphins to have an outlet starts surrounding me, and one by one they start chanting "Go white boy, go." As I'm just like coughing up a lung. Then after the second murder, because I'm still alive by then, everyone's down again. So I try to do it to myself on purpose, but it's just not the same.
Ugh, I hope someone makes it to the end of this episode and listens to this incredibly awesome conversation.
I thought you were going to say hope someone makes it to the end of this episode, like as if one of us was up for getting killed. Danganronpa style. Which actually is my last question. Which Danganronpa character or characters would get fed up with you and take your ass out?
I feel like Yamada would take me out, or at least try to. Because I think he prides himself in being nerdy and goofy and like, haha, I know more about all this shit than you. Ah! And I'd correct him like one time. And he'd hate it.
That does it!
I have a problem with doing that to actual people, and I it's kind of a flaw, but someone will say something like totally incorrect about some geek thing, and I'm not like trying to gatekeep and be like, you're not a real fan. I'm like, oh no, actually it's this. And I know it can be annoying. I don't mean to. I do it. And I'm like, man, he would absolutely murk me. I feel like Monokuma might kill me because I'd forget a rule.
Oh no!
I'd be like, I'd like fall asleep outside of my dorm, which you're not allowed to do, because I fall asleep in a lot of random places. I've slept in like 6 different buildings at our college. Just because I'm a tired boy. So yeah, that would probably get me murked. It'd be a very short case.
Yeah.
So who wouldn't kill you, Brantley?
Wow. You know how you said sometimes you get people mad?
No, but in all seriousness,
you know what? You're the ultimate pinball player because you could just so easily tilt everyone.
I'm actually terrible at pinball.
See, it's easy to make someone angry if you just fucking tilt them sideways and shake them a little bit.
Who would kill you?
I have 5. So I said Yamada, but I said that Yamada would double kill us because we'd call him out for being problematic. I said Owada, he would, upon realizing that I'm ace and non-binary, he would drown me in a toilet for that. Because apparently any kind of show of, like, non-normalcy is grounds for being brave, and therefore, Genocide Jack would kill me for being a weak and squirmy Bishonen boy.
But Genocide Jack only kills people that she's attracted to. Would she be attracted to you?
Makoto. You see, Makoto and I would have a competition. We're moving on.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's not possible. It's very possible. But
I'm also not going to pilfer up the thought of like which of these teenage characters would be interested in teenage
fair.
Me.
That's fair.
The answer's fucking nobody. And I've got the track record to prove it. Makoto and I would have a competition to see who can be more plain. And I would die from eating too many carbs. And last but not least, Celeste would kill me on a vibe. That's it.
You miserable wretch!
So I would like walk in the room one morning. She's just like, "Your vibes are absolutely rancid. You just take me out."
And she doesn't even get a trial.
She just walk herself downstairs. She's like, "All right, everyone, meet me there."
Monokuma's like, "Nah, that's fair." No one's getting executed.
They walk down there and the buttons are already prepared. They just have to push it. They don't even put my body away until I'm just like, all right, just leave him there. They come back, I'm still warm.
Shit.
And that's that.
That's that. Okay. Do you have any final thoughts about Danganronpa Part 1?
I'm sure I do, but
I mean,
it's
we'll
done.
It's done. This is an incredibly long episode. This is longer than Giviate, which is fine because we talked about a video game that's like way longer than anything else we've done. So yeah, do you want to talk about what we're going to be watching next?
Absolutely. Next, we're going to be watching Princess Tutu. It's a show I've seen all of. We might split it into 2 episodes because it is a 24 episode show. We only have so much time in the world. But I've been bugging Grant about it for a while, and even before then, he was bugging me about it. To get us to both watch it, and then that kind of happened asynchronously. So we're finally gonna get back to that.
Yeah. So thank you for listening to this incredibly long, in-depth talk about Danganronpa. If you're a Danganronpa fan and you hate anything we said, sorry. We love it. We love Danganronpa and hate it at the same time. But if you enjoyed what you heard, please like, subscribe, comment. Do love some Danganronpa discourse, even if it's like defending characters that we hate. Love some Danganronpa discourse.
If you like Danganronpa, oh man, I'm so fucking sorry, dude. I feel for you, man. Just hang in there. Yeah. You're gonna get through it.
But yeah, so thank you for listening, and as always, we are not your dads.